I have a special place in my heart for individuals with Down syndrome. Society, including the medical community, often underestimate their value to their families, communities, and friends who love them. Many Americans don't realize the enormous blessings these precious people bring to everyone whom they encounter. That's why I'm so happy to tell you about a special place where those with Down syndrome and their families can grow to be all they can be. Stay with us. Nancy Gianni founded GiGi's Playhouse 10 years ago as a Down syndrome awareness and educational center. It provides resources, specialized teaching, and support to individuals with Down syndrome and their families. Nancy began GiGi's Playhouse after giving birth to her third child, Gigi, who was born with Down syndrome. After giving the diagnosis, Nancy's doctors didn't offer much hope for her daughter's future. Surprised by their negative reaction, Nancy was determined to remain positive and help Gigi reach her full potential. What did the doctors offer you and your husband? Was it hope? Was it resources? What did they give you?
Some fear. They to this day, my OB-GYN says, "You've changed the way I see Down syndrome. You changed that outlook." They learn 5 minutes in medical school on Down syndrome. They don't learn the life of a person with Down syndrome. They don't know the potential of a person with Down syndrome. And when doctors see our kids, it's when they're sick. Kids aren't at their best when they're sick. So to them, this was, it wasn't a good thing.
Yeah, the stats alone, the studies, several that have been done of what parents choose for prenatal diagnosis, whether they choose abortion or life, are startling. It's 90% or so.
For diagnosis of Down syndrome, yes.
So that does reflect, evidently, that doctors are giving them misinformation.
Mm-hmm. And the worst part about those statistics is it makes our kids disposable. It makes it look like, it puts the fear in people to have a child with Down syndrome. When you see that 90%, it makes people think that there's not a purpose or a place for our kids, when nothing could be further from the truth. We don't sugarcoat a diagnosis. We know that there's extra pressures that go along with having a child with a diagnosis. But you never know what you're going to get in life. I tell my kids that all the time. We were blessed that we were given this diagnosis at birth, and we were able to do things with it, and we are able to get early intervention, and we were able to help her succeed at every level.
What's life like with Gigi and the family?
Oh my gosh, it's the biggest gift I could ever ask for. I honestly can say every day I thank God for her. I thank God for her because I could have never been the parent that I am to my other kids. I couldn't have made them the people that they are. She made them who they are.
What inspired you to start GiGi's Playhouse?
When I was going to my first support group meeting for Down syndrome, and it's at a hospital. So we're walking into a hospital, which Gigi had open heart surgery at 4 months old, so we spent enough time at the hospital. So my first thing when I was walking in there was like, why does it have to be at a hospital? And I walk in the room and it was, all the tables were like pushed up against a wall. It was right off of the cafeteria in the hospital. It was just this sterile white room, but there was amazing people in there. The support group itself was wonderful. What happened in there, I was actually able to connect with a parent, someone who had lived what I had gone through, which is what I was looking for. That's what I needed to see. But that environment was not the best for it. That's when I walked out of there saying, wow, what if there was a place, you've already got so much negative, you got so much weight on your back. What if there was just a place where you could walk in and just feel that hug, feel that celebration, see the successes of our kids, see the potential that they're gonna have, see that you're not alone, be given all the tools you need, everything you need to help your child succeed, but more importantly, to help you accept that diagnosis, to know that you're gonna be able to take your kid out into this world and give him the best he can possibly have. The first thing I was doing to start the whole was to do a calendar and portray our kids in their best. Not when they're sick in a hospital, but when they're feeling good and when their hair is done and they're happy and they're being themselves. That's what I wanted people to see. So that was kind of the beginning, was really about self-esteem. I wanted a parent to not have that fear that I had, at her birth, and that most of our families have at their birth. I can't take away that fear, but I could take away the picture in their head of what their life was going to be.
When we return, we'll hear from 2 mothers whose children are benefiting from GiGi's Playhouse. Natalie Miro has 3 sons. Her youngest, Joey, is 5 years old and was diagnosed with Down syndrome at birth. Afraid and unsure about their son's future, Natalie and her husband, Roger, began looking for a program that would provide answers and resources. Natalie is grateful for the intervention and socialization GiGi's Playhouse is providing for Joey, as well as the community support it gives to their entire family.
Whenever we can come here, you just make instant friends. It's like your instant family. And it's so wonderful to have a place where people can get together and talk about everything, because it helps.
What programs is Joey involved with, and how has it impacted him?
Joey is involved with the literacy program right now. It's made a huge difference because we've learned a lot of techniques that we have brought into his school with him. And it's just really, I think, starting at 3, the way they do the program, I think it's a huge help for them.
How has Joey impacted your sons, Michael and Brandon?
They help him so much. He's a big reason why, they are a big reason why he is who he is today, because they help him grow, they helped him talk, they've helped him walk. He mimics everything they do and wants to be just like them. I think that they're actually well-rounded. I think he had to grow up fast. And it really, they're just better children for it. They don't, look at anyone different, or they just want to help. When he comes to GiGi's, when Brandon comes, if there's a party or a function, he's the first one to say, all right, I'll do the calling of the bingo, or I'll help with this, or I'll help with that. And they're just so, I think they're better kids for it.
GiGi's provides programs for even the youngest children with Down syndrome. 27-year-old Megan Priest and her son, 5-month-old Parker, are one of GiGi's Playhouse's newest clients. Parker is Megan's first child, and she's grateful for the hope GiGi's has given her and her husband Matt as they adjust to life with their new baby boy. What did the doctors offer you? Did they offer you hope or resources?
They definitely offered resources. They sent in a social worker to speak with us and make sure we were doing okay. And that was so helpful. And actually we heard about GiGi's Playhouse from pretty much all of them, from our pediatricians, also from our social worker. He did end up spending some time in the NICU, and all of the nurses there were just so supportive and loving to all of us, really. And I think that was part of really what helped us kind of move past the diagnosis and get to know our son.
What's life like with Parker?
Life is amazing with Parker. I mean, I couldn't be happier with every day with him. I mean, he's a happy boy. He is most of the time, but he is just really constantly the light of our day. I mean, he is just perfect for us and for all of our family members. It's just incredible. That's the only way I can think of to describe it.
What's your favorite part, Megan, about GiGi's Playhouse?
I think it's like I said, it's the hope. I mean, it's just such a positive place. Every time I walk in the door, everybody's happy. Everybody's talking about all of the accomplishments that our kids are doing. We're no longer hearing about, well, the textbook says that he's never going to be able to do this, or he's going to walk later than everybody else does, or, there's not the he can't or he won't when you walk through those doors. And I think that makes all the difference for us, because you get so burned out of hearing that your child won't be able to do something. And to be honest, I mean, he's proven us and everybody else around him wrong many times already. So I think that, GiGi's is kind of a testament to that.
And he's just started proving them wrong.
Yes, I think so.
GiGi's is kind of like a community, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely think it's a community, and it's one that I don't know what I would do without.
In a moment, we'll hear about GiGi's expansion and the exciting programming they provide for adults who have Down syndrome. Michelle Hornbuckle is the site coordinator of the Quad Cities GiGi's Playhouse. She was inspired to open the location in honor of her son, Nate. Nate was born with Down syndrome, and Michelle's doctors were very helpful and hopeful about his future. But Nate suffered a massive stroke at 18 months old that left him severely disabled. Sadly, Nate passed away 18 days before his 3rd birthday. What was your motivation to open up a location for GiGi's Playhouse?
After Nathan's death, I remained active in the Down syndrome community. I had followed GiGi's Playhouse for a number of years. I was first introduced to it at a conference before Nathan was a year old. I was at a conference in Chicago, and GiGi's Playhouse wasn't quite 2 years old, and they had a vendor table at this conference, and I put my name on the mailing list, and I've received the newsletters ever since. So it's one of those things that you always think, oh, wouldn't it be great if we had one of those in our community? And it was something that, you know, even though Nate's not here, it's something that I would have wanted. It's a community and services that that are unlike no other.
I understand you've dedicated this GiGi's Playhouse location to your son?
He's the inspiration behind it. Every day when I walk in that door and see his face larger than life and see those eyes next to the lock on the door, you know, it reminds me, you know, why we do this.
Tell me about some of the programs that you offer.
Well, GiGi's Playhouse has about 26 programs, plus our literacy and math programs. And each location has a little bit different offering, you know, just depending on the needs in each individual community. Our programming is all free to our families, so no one has to pay to receive the services, which is very unique. But we want everyone to be able to have access to those programs.
Everything from prenatal care for a mother who finds out, or a family when they find out that they're going to have a child with Down syndrome, up to our adult programming. So our adult programming could be anything depending on which location, which demographic, whatever that they're serving. It could be social, it could be vocational and life skills. There's different programs for all different ages. For our infants, we do a crawlers program, which is facilitated by a physical therapist, and you would love it. This place turns into an obstacle course for these little 6-month-old babies that are working their hardest to get those muscles moving. And that to me, those programs, I think, are the most important programs that we have in those early ages of intervention.
What's your favorite thing about the Playhouse?
One of my favorites is the adults. I have fallen in love with our adults. They're building friendships that they didn't have before. So many of these adults have spent a lot of time by themselves, or haven't had any peers that they have developed those relationships with.
What's it like seeing them interact with their peers?
It's beautiful. There's nothing better than being at one of our Friday Friends programs on Friday night with our adults and seeing someone walk through the door and the arms go out and it's, "You're my BFF," and it's amazing.
Ashley Jones is 23 years old and loves coming to GiGi's Playhouse. Her mother Paula is grateful to have a place like GiGi's for Ashley to receive specialized education in reading and math and socialize at Friday Friends. When Ashley was born, society wasn't as accepting of people with Down syndrome. She was told Ashley should be institutionalized, but Paula and her husband Michael fought for a better life for her and were blessed to live in a school district that accepted and worked with their daughter.
It would have been great to have GiGi's around at that time because it would have been a great resource. The things that are going on here, I'm really amazed, and my wife tells us what she's doing with GiGi's. And we would have had that at the beginning. We would have at least had a path to step on to go forward.
How have these programs impacted her life?
Like Ashley's other sisters, they've all gone to college. Ashley's, one of her dreams was to go to college. Well, in order to go to the programs that we have found, you have to be at a third grade reading level and comprehension. The school said she needs to work on this, this, and this. They talked directly with GiGi's, and then the school and GiGi's worked together to help bring Ashley up to that level. Then her math is lacking, so through that, GiGi's has helped with the math, with her learning how to tell time and to count money, things like that, all things that she's gonna need to know. So GiGi's has come in and helped with that.
What do you see for Ashley's future?
Eventually, she does take a few classes at Harper College, eventually going on to one of the programs once she has all of her comprehension and things in place that GiGi's is helping us work on to actually attend the college program.
And some of the key things in happiness is continuing to have socialization with friends and peers and constantly expanding that. Experience things as life changes, as the world changes, for her to be part of it and not be left behind and not experiencing the new things and discovering things that she likes and enjoys, just like all the rest of our kids, just like every other person.
Do you like coming to GiGi's Playhouse?
Yeah.
What's your favorite part?
Math homework.
Math homework. Huh? What else do you like about GiGi's?
Money and count money.
Learning to count money and other things?
Yeah.
Tell me about Friday Friends. I hear that's a really popular time. Do you enjoy that?
Yeah.
What do you do when you get together on Friday?
Karaoke.
Ooh, really?
Music in there. And CDs.
So what do you like to sing? Britney Spears songs?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Britney Spears. And sing YMCA.
YMCA.
YMCA. I loved it.
Do you do all the letters and everything too?
Letters.
Yeah?
The craze.
Coming up, we'll hear Nancy's future plans for GiGi's Playhouse. Currently, there are 14 GiGi's Playhouses around the country, with 4 more opening this year, including one in Mexico. It's a testament to the uniqueness of the program, and Nancy has big plans for expanding their reach. She's encouraged by the impact they can have on making the world a more accepting place for those with Down syndrome.
Well, we're building our National Training Center this year, which is a really big piece, especially when we've got over 100 locations that want to open and 4 more opening this year. It's going to be great to have a model, a training center, where everybody can come and see the way that a Playhouse is supposed to run.
You've got some special plans, though, for training people at this facility, right?
Yes, we've been working with Toys R Us and with Lowe's and some other places about placement for our adults in the workplace. And they had talked about they've got distribution centers in different places for them, and we want to make sure that there's places for them in more than just a distribution center. We want them on the front lines, at Toys R Us and working in their stores, at Walgreens in the stores. There's a place for everyone.
What advice can you give to parents, either before birth or after, that receive a diagnosis of Down syndrome?
I think that advice that I would give would just be to take a deep breath. I think that your child will kind of make up for any fears or issues that you're having with the diagnosis. I think that time is definitely something that helped me. I needed a chance to kind of grieve, and that's okay to grieve. I think people feel so guilty when they're grieving over that, instead of just kind of processing it and moving on from it and seeing your child as your child instead of as someone with Down syndrome, not seeing them as a diagnosis.
To learn as much as you can about it, to join groups like GiGi's and NADS. You got to become an advocate at that point. You just can't sit back or life will leave you.
You have to be an extremely strong advocate. You can't give up.
You want to protect your children. The last thing you want is to know they're going to be born with some odds against them. And that's really scary. I think I would let them know that they're not alone. They'll never be alone. We're going to equip you with everything you need. We have people who follow us vicariously just through our website. They've never stepped foot into the Playhouse, but it's all they need to get through, to have their family go to a place that's positive and uplifting and celebrating Down syndrome. So I think I would tell them that they're not alone and they'll never be alone, and don't be afraid.
Every time I hear the name Gigi, I'll think of this happy place and get a warm feeling inside. The unmistakable message is that people with Down syndrome, like Ashley, Parker, and Joey, are valuable assets and a true blessing to their communities. So let's get the word out that we need to protect them while in the womb so that they can shine their light like the rest of us. Thanks for watching. I'd like to offer you one of these inspiring GiGi's Playhouse t-shirts or picture calendars. May it remind you of this amazing organization and the beautiful potential inside of every person with Down syndrome. Simply visit our website at facinglife.tv to enter for your chance to receive one free. While there, find out how you can order a copy of today's episode on DVD or Blu-ray to share with others. Help us tell others of the incredible blessings people with Down syndrome bring to our lives.